Good morning, gardening friends. Today is Sunday, July 23rd. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. And right now, it's cool. We got a lot of rain last night. You can see the banana trees are way up overhead now. Things are really growing hand over fist out here. We did need some rain, and we got, let's see, what does the rain gauge say? About 3 inches of rain yesterday. I need to work on my roses a little bit. You can see they're getting fried from the 95-degree plus weather that we've been getting. Not having coffee anymore. I have a chilled beverage now. I did want to show you the peach angel's trumpet, or yellow angel's trumpet. Very fragrant. Got battered a little from the wind yesterday, which is why you see it's bent. I don't hear the winds quite as much because of the big trees now being gone. That tin decorative piece on the wall was not moved because of the wind. It was moved because of Oscar. He jumps over the fence and sometimes uses that to slow his fall. Potato vine has just really grown wild over there. I love it. The last few blooms on the plumeria. Looks like I'm getting a flush of new growth on the papyrus. I put a lot of fertilizer in the pot, so we'll see how they do. Oh, and my toad lilies are doing pretty well. They're really good enough. You noticed at the base, they're already multiplying, both of them. So I lost one of the 3 that I got from Walmart. But that's okay. Those other 2 are doing really well. I need to move the dill out front. Oh, Mimi wants to come out. Mimi is back to her normal self. Here you can see the blooms on the hosta. It's the only place I can grow hosta because the slugs like to eat it if it's grown anywhere else. You can see there's a little bit of slug damage to the leaves as it is. I have to be careful going down this ramp because it's slick from all the rains that we've had. I did fertilize the palms last week, or maybe it was the week before. So they're good for another 3 months. The hardest thing really in the heat is keeping the potted things watered. The things in the ground, their roots are good enough to keep them sustained. This plum really deserves a special mention. This is the Ozark Plum that I planted here in place of the Meyer lemon. And I just planted it this year, and I would say that top branch is about 8 feet off of the ground. And when I planted it, it was only up to about here, so it's pretty much doubled in height in 1 year. And I trimmed some of it off to make it branch more like a tree. So hopefully I'll have plums next year. Here things are just getting thicker. Here's the blossom on the Pinto Palm. This is the first time that this particular Pinto Palm has blossomed. Oh, there's a weed over there. And I do need to do a little pruning on these topiaries. I'll get to it later in the week. I'm a firm believer you can, when you walk around your garden, you can enjoy your garden for what it is, or you can worry yourself about all the things that need to be done. I'll enjoy the garden for what it is, and if I get to weeding, I will. Here, this pecan is looking nice. Definitely the aspidistra got burned here from losing the tree earlier this year. And I will clean it up, but the aspidistra only gets one leaf a year, so I'm going to wait until those leaves get really crusty before I take them off, so give nourishment to the roots. And when the new leaves come back, they'll adjust to the brighter light. It just seems like the leaves that grow in the shade are very sensitive to sun and they'll burn, but if the leaves came up in bright light, they'll be okay. They wouldn't burn or won't burn. Blueberries are really branching out, and I've cut these back quite a lot to get them and to encourage them to bush. Here you can see this angel trumpet must have got beat a little as well last night with the winds. I used to hear the winds in the oak tree in the front yard, but now that the oak tree is gone, all I hear is the rain beating against the windows, so it's not quite the same. You don't really know what the story is until you go out the next day. This angel's trumpet, the white one, is fixing to bloom. You can see the new leaves there. That is a Bergmansia for any of you that are keeping track of the Latin names. David never changes. He's green and he stays green until the Fatsias bloom. Fountains sound good. Everything is very lush. And the bumblebees are out. They do like working over the spiderwort. Every morning they're all over the spiderwort. Got a second flush of flowers on my daylilies. Something has definitely been digging around in my sedum, but it'll recover. These coxcombs look pretty good, although they never really did develop the long flowers that I was hoping they would. I remember years ago up north there was a town in New Jersey that I used to go and get the coxcombs from. They were the ones that were shaped like a brain, and they would grow them about 3 feet tall and sell them as cut flowers in the fall or late summer. And they would dry nicely. They would keep forever once dried. There's my turtle Gatto's dish. He's been in it. You can tell he's been in it because there's mud in it. He lives somewhere back in the shrubberies here. You can see his path through the monkey grass. Actually, he's got a couple of spots where he goes through the monkey grass. What you doing, Mimi? You like being out? She doesn't get out much in this heat. But right now it's cool out here. Here's my crepe myrtle, which got beat down from the rains yesterday, but it's looking nice. This was a crepe myrtle that was a volunteer. Years ago, I had 2 crepe myrtles in pots, and huge pots. And I saw that, I copied it from New Orleans, and Hurricane Katrina came. Actually, the 2 big pots were at the base of the Camellia Archway. And when Hurricane Katrina came, it knocked the pots over, and I wound up planting those 2 crepe myrtles out of the street, which were just taken down last year for the new sidewalk. But in any event, roots had gone through the bottom of the pot, and crepe myrtles were sprouting up in the spot where the pots were placed, and this was one of them. I actually had 2 others, but because they were a free plant, I moved them around a couple of times and they did not survive. The last one had to be plowed over when they took some dead trees out of my backyard, or some damaged trees. Okay, Mimi, now get out of the way. I'll be right back. I don't let her in the front because I don't like to encourage her to go out at the street. Here you can see the satsumas are getting heavier and heavier. This plant here is oregano, and it has spread all through here. It's kind of like my little Mediterranean area, so I planted herbs in the gravel. The thyme actually does okay over there, except I had to move the table because of the growth on the rosemary, and I covered up the thyme, so I have to make sure I water it even though it may rain a lot. Potager is still producing. Tomatoes are still coming. It's mostly herbs, and the herbs will keep producing. And okra, apparently you can't stop okra. I did find a new use for okra. I went antiquing a couple of days ago, and I thought, what a fabulous idea. Someone took okra pods, dried them, spray painted them red, and made Christmas tree ornaments out of them. I thought, what a novel use for okra. At this point, it's certainly better than eating them. You can tell I'm sick of okra. Here's one of my lilies of the Nile, agapanthus. I don't think I'm going to have any others this year, but it may come out later. This clump of bananas has done exceedingly well. Unfortunately, I think it just given the death knell to the crocosmia back there because they don't get any sun. I may wind up getting rid of those and planting some of my butterfly gingers since I have an abundance of them. And this may remind you of Mardi Gras with Joe Cain's widows. But I've got the figs covered, and you can see they have turned black. In fact, I need to go ahead and pick a couple of them. Yeah, there's another one down there. Birds have not discovered them, nor have the squirrels. So, interesting fact about Mardi Gras. It actually started in this country, in Mobile, in 1699. The French settlers carried it over here. And it was adopted by other southern cities. I guess it's most famous by, what's that little city called there? New Orleans? They've run with it, needless to say. We do have celebrations here, but They're more family oriented in Alabama. Everything here is very lush. I'm very pleased with the way this little circular bed has come together, and it should require no other effort on my part other than an occasional weed. Still getting cucumbers on my one cucumber. For some reason, animals don't seem to like cucumbers. They seem to leave those alone. There you can see my limelight hydrangea. And I've got some new growth on it. Hopefully that plant will take off now that it's no longer under the tree. And my cassia here has gotten real tall. I'm going to leave it and just let it grow. It's going to get a little floppy, but it'll have beautiful yellow flowers in the fall. And the big news this week was I got a curb. They're starting to do the curbing by me. Still a mud pit, but eventually it'll be completed. And here you can see it's always hard to see this crepe myrtle because it's in the sun most of the time, but it blooms the same color as my other crepe myrtle in the front yard, but it has purplish leaves. Still love my new car. I think it'll be 2 weeks this Monday, and I've just about got the front seat comfortable. It has more things to play with in there. Actually, while I'm out here, see if I got any mail. No, good. And that's about it for this morning. I didn't do too badly. I only got a few mosquito bites this morning. So, I'm glad you came on this walk with me. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.